To hear what we should do about the next policy. Because Daddy is. What's the correct stance on gun control and violent crime?
Gun control and violent crime?
These idiots always combine shit too much. So yeah, both of those separately.
Okay, well,
This is so fun.
I think most people should be allowed to own a gun with pretty little hurdles in their way to do that. Like, I think you should know how to use a gun before you buy one. I don't mind mandates on that specifically. Kind of like how you have to have a driver's license before you can drive a car.
Are there weapons that you don't think are licensable?
Yeah.
Such as, and for what reason?
Nukes.
Why couldn't they be licensable? Wait, is there a legitimate purpose for a nation to own nukes?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you envision an individual fulfilling the same need?
I really just wouldn't want there to be I would not want whether or not a nuke goes off to hinge on whether some random person is going to be a good person
The
today.
whole point of licensing is to make that individual not be random in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I didn't say anything about licensing.
You
I didn't
did
make
too.
that a requirement. No, I said know how to use it.
Wait, but Deidre,
I didn't say...
was asking you about a weapon that shouldn't be licensable, and you said nukes.
I was talking about I just meant a weapon that shouldn't be purchasable by the general public.
Okay, that's just explicitly not what I asked you.
So, I don't know if you can do proper licensing for nukes, then sure.
Right, that's the hypothetical. Okay, so you don't believe that there is a weapon that shouldn't be licensable, but obviously nukes should not be available to the general public. That's fucking obvious.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
probably not tanks either. Not because I think that most people would do something bad with them, but I do, except for the fact that I think too many people would try to drive their stupid tanks down the street. That shit is just causing destruction. So, I don't think
Oh, just damaging the roads?
Yeah.
Because it's too fucking heavy.
It's too heavy. It's not made for that. Fuck, and even if you're driving on the grass or in the dirt, you're still damaging.
Whatever you drive it on, it's just God did not intend for vehicles to weigh that much.
No.
Unless they're in the water.
Yeah.
Or the air.
I like having pretty scenery, so I'm gonna say no.
Really, for real, we need reinforced roads, and then we could allow more of that. But I think, wait, so what did you say about it? There should be a weight limit, essentially.
If you got your lightweight tank,
Lightweight
have at it.
tank,
Have at
lightweight
it,
tanks
Hoss.
are cool. That's
Yeah.
okay. But none of that heavy armor. Fuck
No.
out of here.
No.
No more than whatever amount pounds. It would be based on what
What the
scientists tell you about how shit degrades the road, whatever speed.
right.
Yeah. And you would make a determination based on that. So, and then what about, okay, what about aerial and naval? No limit, right? Everything's licensable.
The problem is with cameras. Can't just go flying around your drone weapon, filming
Well,
people's backyards and
that's how you use the weapon. You obviously can't use weapons in illegal ways.
shit. Yeah, so
Obviously.
just with that stipulation,
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Yes, yes.
Then sure.
Yes, that's part of the licensing process, is
Yeah.
vetting them to make sure they're not the kind of motherfucker that would do that in the first place. Otherwise, no license for you, asswipe.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why a regular suburban man would need some missiles on a regular day, but if Fallout happens,
Couple
it would sure be handy.
handful of F-16s on an aircraft carrier and maybe a destroyer or two.
Can I imagine a situation where it's completely
Necessary?
yeah
Yeah,
so
totally,
yeah,
completely,
like
straight up.
if shit hits the fan,
Right.
that's
If we're fighting a war in the remains of Earth against the remnants of the Chinese Communist Army after a nuclear holocaust, yeah, that might be it might totally happen on some Luffy style shit.
so I'm not gonna let my government be like, oh no, you're not gonna be able to be prepared for that situation.
What? This is some dark shit we're looking forward to, man.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers gun control.
Right. So basically, so here's a good question about it though. What is the heaviest level of handheld munitions that you think should be unregulated?
Define unregulated.
Non-licensed.
Licensed.
The Second Amendment.
Licensed meaning you have to pass some kind of character test in order to be able to carry the weapon.
Meaning a weapon you should be able to purchase because God imbued you with the power of the Second Amendment.
Well, let's think about this philosophically.
Yes.
Everyone has the right to defend themselves.
Yes.
So
right.
whatever. So I think basically a pistol. And if you.
Oh, you got me so fucked up. Okay.
No, so a pistol is fine. No regulations on that. But so everyone can get a pistol, kind of like everyone's given a dagger when you do RuneScape.
Hold on.
But in order to.
But a pistol, if you speak your mind, and if you happen to, we also have the right to freedom of speech too, and the Second Amendment is intended to defend the First. So, self-defense in a meek way is not sufficient. You need to be able to defend your right to say everything in your head.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Then, whatever is necessary to deal with an angry mob. So some assault rifle.
Assault rifle. Okay, 5.56. An unlimited number of 5.56 rounds through an assault rifle. Got it. I agree.
Because you got to be able to at least just like have that shit on your back order to speak your mind in a way that will, and have it as a deterrent.
Yes.
For the angry mob.
If the angry mob knows you could kill all of them.
Yeah. Then you have freedom of speech.
You might be able to say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the closest to freedom of speech that you have.
Right.
In the town hall.
And pretty much the only way you're ever going to have freedom of speech on Earth. Yeah,
So I don't disagree with that.
wonderful. Now, violent crime. So now that we're finished with gun control,
What about violent crime specifically?
what's the correct policy of the government towards it?
Okay, well, it should be punished, not. But the current prison system is absolutely trash. We the way
Punishment should be rehabilitative.
Yeah, the goal shouldn't be to have people. I mean, they claim this is not their goal, but this is what the outcome is. The way that the prison system is currently set up, it's very very hard for an individual who comes from the kind of background that lands them in prison for a violent crime, going to jail for like 7 years and then coming out and then being the kind of individual who can live a life that will not land them right back in prison. That is difficult.
It's unfairly difficult to go to jail no matter what your background is because of how much it sucks to be there. But I agree with what you said too. It's even harder for those people.
What it's hard to.
It's even harder for the people you're talking about, but it's unfairly difficult no matter who you are when you get locked up just because prison sucks so bad.
Oh yeah, I know. You could be like the most typical suburban person, but if you go spend 10 years in prison,
Or even some rich person.
your statistical likelihood to go back is so much higher
And
than
just
if
the
you never went.
amount you come out broken and soulless is basically the same, I've noticed.
And that, in my opinion, is a crime against humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, prison shouldn't create more prisoners. That's not how it should be. That is backwards. Kind of like how our healthcare system is backwards, to where it creates more. It doesn't create healthy people. It perpetuates more sickness.
Right. If it's necessary for the state to take custody of a person, it's the responsibility of the state to help that person, not torture that person.
Right. If
And
you're gonna take.
I take that very seriously.
Why should the state have any different level of custody than your mother does? Why? Please tell me.
If they have the same rights, they should have the same responsibilities.
So, in my opinion, if the state is going to take custody of an adult individual, they better be treating that fucking adult individual like their mother would in that situation.
Like their mother should.
Yes, should. Yes. But that's just, these are one and the same to me. But
Right.
I know they're not objectively. But anyway, that's just
You
my...
happen to be a good mother. You have goodness bias.
Yeah. But anyway, so like, that doesn't mean not punishing them. But the purpose of the punishment isn't to...
It's primarily to separate them from others that they could harm until they are know better than to harm them, and secondarily to get them to go through that process of learning.
Yes, so that they don't make the same mistakes again.
Right.
That is the goal.
None of that involves any kind of retribution or even harming them in any way, technically. You just need to separate them and educate them.
Mm-hmm.
As nicely as possible.
So there's that, and I do think that we are too strict on violence in general.
In general, we're violence phobic.
Mm-hmm. But violence is inherent to life, so we're never going to be completely. We're not.
Yeah.
If we want to truly become non-violent creatures,
We need to tolerate more violence.
we have to be in a. We have to make the place that we are more. The way that we have to make society a more comfortable place for violence. So that doesn't just mean when it comes to punishing violence when it happens. It also means
Knowing how to
giving there
handle it.
more room for violence to happen in a way that is accepted, because it's so inherent already.
And raising
So-
the general level of awareness and the general education level when it comes to how to handle and deal with and do violence.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a couple that hasn't had a violent argument that, if everyone's being all politically correct, people would say you guys should break up. Like one of those screaming matches where someone throws something.
Right.
People always say, okay, people be like, break up as soon as something like that happens, and that's not okay.
And I've met so many people that really have broken up for that reason, and
Hmm.
it breaks my heart.
So we have to have more of a tolerance in society for
Yeah.
violence, because these are things that, since it's so common, that means that it's the proper reaction is to learn how to deal with it,
Yeah. Now,
not to just condemn it
right.
outright.
Now, ironically, so having said both of those things, prison needs to be way better, and we need to be more tolerant of violence in general in society. I also think that genuinely barbaric violence, as in really bad violent crime, we should punish more harshly than we do now in terms of jail sentences, even though jail should be way nicer than it is. But I would say we probably, there's probably a significant number of cases where we just don't put people away long enough. So that's also a thing.
Rape is a very good example of that.
Right.
You get 7 years for rape.
That's ridiculous.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's because jail is horrible, and that's the punishment doesn't represent the crime. It represents a compromise between the crime and the fact that you're torturing someone when you send them to jail. That is an unacceptable state of affairs in society. We need to stop making it be torture to go to jail. If jail was a good place to go to, we could give a rapist an appropriate sentence, like 50 years.
Well, I don't think there should be like dictated sentences, like dictated lengths.
I know, but for a particularly bad case, that might be the kind of thing that you might give them.
No, no. I think that um, it should always be based on whether or not the person actually has learned their lesson.
Oh well, yes, but I in we agree. But even in that system that you're describing, that I agree we should have, in the situation where you're convicting someone, it's because they're not repentant.
You get convicted when you do the crime. Period.
Well, yes. So, all right. I don't know what we're disagreeing about, but
All I'm saying is, I don't think that's. I think if you go to jail, it shouldn't be determined how long you'll be there before you go.
oh. So you should just be convicted of a crime and not sentenced to an amount of time.
No, you just go to jail and you become a better person, or you don't. It's up to you.
What if you become a better person before you're convicted? How does that get measured?
What?
My question is, how do you measure?
It would be a long process. You would have to test it. Like we were talking about, you would have to like put them out in the real world with armed guard, see how they deal with the situation. And a person who's committed a violent crime never gets to get rid of the armed guard, even when they're like, even when they
right.
pass and
Okay.
you're done.
Yeah. So basically, it's a scarlet letter situation. You wear the shame of what you did for forever.
Right.
Even and the only way to truly express your true repentance for the crime is to not mind the wearing of the scarlet letter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fuck. Make best friends with your armed guard.
Enjoy it. Yes.
They are not there to be an enemy to you.
No, they're there to be your savior, your protector.
Yes, they're there to save you from yourself.
That's right. They would literally stand between you and take a bullet for you.
Yes.
You piece of shit.
Yes. Right.
Okay, that's their job. Wonderful. Wonderful. Speaking of, but having said all of that, when I say jail should be nicer, I mean jail should be like, it should be like living in Mark Zuckerberg's treehouse system in Hawaii. That's basically,
Yeah, it should be like a Beverly Hills rehab.
or nicer. It should be like living in a village in the Mojave Desert or some shit. It should be really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, really nice.
That's like the main thing these people need, because that's what they never got before. If you're a person,
Yeah, they need their actual life that they can live.
yeah,
Yeah.
they need peace. They need love. They
Mhm.
need to feel warmth. They
They
need to feel
need
human.
they need to live in a communist utopia, and we need to give it to them. And that's what jail is anyway. It's just a communist dystopia.
Right.
Okay.
Everyone pretty much starts that
No one
way.
deserves to
No.
be in dystopia.
What most of these people didn't get to live the normal upbringing, and the normal upbringing pretty much is a quote unquote communist utopia inside of your house. When you're a child living in under a just a normal family,
Yeah.
you don't make decisions. All of your resources are divvied out to you evenly between
Right.
you and your siblings.
It's
Okay.
generally a communist utopia or a dystopia, and then with highlights of either utopia or dystopia, whichever one it isn't. That's what most people's childhoods amounts to.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was largely a utopia with heavy streaks of dystopia through it.
Same. So what they need is what everyone else got.
Mm-hmm.
So just give them that. They need someone to take care of the roof over their head and the food that they eat
Uh-huh.
and all of these things that force us to do terrible things in order to make money and
Yes.
survive,
Right.
so that they can solely focus on learning how to be a human being.
Exactly. That's what jail should be. That's what prison should be.
Right.
It should be Hawaii or Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or the Mojave Desert.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere beautiful, very very natural. Make
Yeah.
you learn, make you think. Everywhere you look should inspire thought.
Yeah, somewhere where you can live amongst beauty and freely and breathe the clean air and feel the sun on your back, but be under complete armed guard and surveillance 24/7 at the same time.
That's right. Like I said, like a rehab.
Right.
It's literally what they do.
Free to live how you want, just not outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty simple. All right, wonderful. Well, they made us do two, but we did them, so that's nice. If there's anything we missed about violent crime, we can get it some other day.
Mm-hmm.